What's up everybody, welcome back to the channel. Got another video for you guys today. We're going to be covering part 2 of the NA S13 beam swap. Martin filmed quite a bit of footage of that, so I'm going to go ahead and show that to you guys and let's get right into it. So now that Martin's got the engine bay painted, you guys can see behind me, we're going to go ahead and put this engine back in, which is right here. And Martin spent the morning, you guys can see, getting some of this stuff on. So he's got, brake booster on, some of the wiring is put in, and he's kind of got this car set up to have the engine go in, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. So we're getting set up. Martin's going to put some protection down for this freshly painted bay. We've got the OMD beam swap transmission mount here. So what Martin's going to do essentially once he gets it in, use the jack to jack up the transmission and then bolt that together, and that kind of holds everything in place, and then he can go ahead and bolt on the engine mounts. Sitting in there now. You can see up in there that the engine mounts have dropped in. And those are in there. Martin can get under there and put the transmission, kind of lift that transmission up and bolt the transmission mount on. And then once he's done that, he can bolt on the engine mounts and we're in. We are in there like swimwear. We're on.
Okay, here's the OMD beam swap drive shaft. It's made out of steel and it's made very heavy duty, very much heavy duty. And
Slide it in. There you go. Boom, right there. She's on.
yep.
So now that we've got this engine in, Martin's got a couple of things on. You guys can see this fuel filter is lined up to the AN that Martin added for the actual fuel line here. And the pressure regulator over here, hooked up to the back of it. And now what Martin is doing is actually changing the belt. So you can see this belt is pretty worn actually. And luckily Martin runs the upgraded Toyota Racing strengthened timing belt. So because of that, we actually have an extra one of these that we have that's actually in really, really good shape. Looks like whoever took that engine out had to put it on only a few thousand miles ago. So we're going to go ahead and use that one, the factory Toyota timing belt, and go ahead and put that on. So what else are you looking for while you do this this cam belt change?
Also, you're gonna want to make sure the front main seal is not leaking. This one looks like it's pretty dry. You would see a sign if there was a blown seal. And when I take this belt off, I'm gonna make sure all these guide bearings and everything work smoothly. So you're gonna want to do that when you go in to do this service. You want to check all those things. Make sure. So this is a hydraulic tensioner. You can put a pin in here like this to lock it in place so the belt won't be under so much tension. And at that point, oh, and you want to show people. See how this cam has a little notch right here? And then another one right there. So you want to turn this into a position where this notch lines up with this line. That notch lines up with this line. And then if you look at it down here, the keyway should be facing straight up. And see the little dot? You can see the little dot and the arrow. Okay, when you line those up, that means it's top dead center. It's the safest place to be able to change the belt. So factory, that's why they put it there. And you can just go ahead and take the belt out and put the belt back in. The factory belts have these lines that you can line this up with.
Now that he's got that tensioner taking the pressure off, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this thing out.
Yeah, I think it's easiest to just take this off temporarily. But you can show them closely what the hydraulic tensioner looks like. And then this is the pin that lets you lock into place for this.
You can see now you can take it off because he's already got the tension taken off here. You can see that the belt is loose.
And looks like we may have to take this little piece off.
There we go. We got the old belt out.
And you can see it, this belt has a lot of cracks in it. And it's just kind of...
It's pretty clear looking at it. This is most likely the belt that came on this engine when this engine was new in the late 90s, which is kind of a good sign and a bad sign as well. It means that the car clearly hasn't driven too many miles, but we also don't know exactly how well people that own this car treated the engine. So we'll go ahead and replace it with this one here.
You want to check these belt guide bearings to make sure it works smoothly. This is oil pump, this is water pump. You would feel a notchy feeling or something if it's going out, but everything feels smooth. I'm just gonna clean the surface up with steel wool. That way I can get some of the rust off. When this engine was shipped from Japan, those guys washed it, power washed it pretty well. And that's why you see water, you know, just kind of puddled up in here, because basically engine never ran after they washed it. I decided to replace this bearing. It just had a lot of rough rust on there. This one works smoothly. This one was a little rough.
Luckily, because we've done a couple of these beam swaps now, we have some, extra parts lying around. So we had one of those and threw it on there and got this thing running smooth.
See that? See the rust swap? The reason why you want to scrape off the rust is because you don't want the rust to get embedded into the belt, which could cause, a tear later on or wear easier. So that's why you're going to want to clean them up. And this one too, make sure the bearing doesn't have side play and that works smoothly. This one's good to go. This is a Toyota factory OEM belt. You line it up to this line, and dot line, and then when you go down here, remember the dot and the arrow? And it is lined up. That way, for sure, this engine's going to be safe. It's in the right placement. Everything's lined up.
Well, now that we've got the belt on and tensioned, we're going to go ahead and put all the covers back on. So there are, technically speaking, 3 covers that go onto this plastic cover. So there's this bottom one, there's this middle piece, and then there's the upper actual beams cover. So this covers the valve cover as well as the actual cams here. On Martin's car, of course, he cut this off and didn't use the back section and just used the front. But this car running NA is just going to use the entire factory beams covers and look as stock as possible. So Martin is in the process of installing the actual shifter for this car. I do remember that there's a little bit of cutting. If you guys see right here at the back of it, this section right here has been cut out a little bit. and create space for the shifter. So the way that this engine and transmission is mounted in this car, it's a little bit further back than the stock 240. So you do have to make that cut, and then Martin's gonna go ahead and install this right now. He's got some lithium grease on there. So this is the factory Nissan like inner boot. The actual outer boot will still work just fine as long as you make this modification. It gives you more space for putting it in the bottom gears.
It's in there. So as you can see, we were fully be able to utilize the OEM Nissan shifter boot with a little bit of notching, just like this. We were able to fully 100% seal this trans tunnel area. So you're gonna have quiet shifting.
Nice OEM feel.
And we're gonna
Put the center console back on and we're good to go. Look at that. Factory styling.
And it looks like the shifter that he had screws right on.
Boom.
First,
We're on there.
second, third, fourth. Good enough.
Looks good. So actually for this next part of the video, Martin actually was on his own. Steve and I went out to Ohio for my sister's wedding, and Martin had the shop to himself and decided to film actually quite a bit for you guys. So hopefully you guys enjoy the footage.
Hey guys, this is Martin here at OMD. I'm gonna show you guys some of the process that we do when you do an engine swap like this. I'm gonna show you some small details that you may not know or seen. So here it is. So as you guys can see, we are utilizing 180SX, its own fuse box and factory wiring, and we basically gonna be meshing these two things together. And one of the things that you have to do, especially if you're going to run an angle kit, we've been using this yellow top Optima Honda battery, which is a little bit slimmer and compact than the usual battery. This works really good in the engine bay. You don't have to reroute your power wire or anything like that. And as you guys can see, I've hammered this area quite a bit just to gain clearance for this angle kit, which is going to throw a lot more angle than OEM. So this is kind of a cool trick. See how you guys can see how much narrower this battery is, and it fits right in here. And the only thing I had to make was this little bracket. Okay. We decided to run a brand new clutch master cylinder. This one's already installed, and I bench bled it first. I'm gonna show you guys that process. Makes your bleeding process a lot easier. Also, you know, when you buy brand new cylinders, it'll tell you to do that, because basically, you know, when you first buy those things, it's not lubricated. So if you go and start bleeding it without bench bleeding it, you can potentially damage your seal. So bench bleeding is quite simple. All you're doing is basically adding fluid to the new master cylinder and open these ports and basically let the gravity feed the fluid through this piston, which basically fills up the whole thing. And when you buy new ones, it comes with these plugs, so you plug them up until you're ready to hook up all your tubing. Okay, here it is. Okay, I'm just gonna use this thing to push the piston in and out a couple times. I don't know if you guys can see it, the fluid's starting to kind of ooze out. Okay, now the bench bleeding process is complete. Okay, so the brake and clutch master cylinders are fully installed and ready to be bleeded. We got the brake booster plumbing done. I had to get a little creative with the zip ties. I'm sure you guys all done that, since old plastic clips are cracked and broken. But as long as the lines weren't touching each other, and I think it should work. I will be making a little heat shield for this. As you guys can see, I utilize the factory header with the factory heat shield, which is kind of nice. It kind of adds the look of this OEM finish. But I do want to make a heat shield for this guy right here, so his brakes won't get squishy. But yeah, we have a really good start going right here. So as I told you guys, we are utilizing the factory header, but I'm going to show you guys a little trick. You can buy these 2-inch Mishimoto V-bands, and by chopping the OEM flange right there, you gain a lot more clearance for the steering shaft that's going to be in the way. So as you guys can see, and also putting 2 V-bands there makes it really easy to work on cars. If you ever need to pull the tranny, you can, take the downpipe real easily. If you put an engine in and out, that's your, brake point right there. So yeah, I just want to show you guys that. Today I'm going to be working on rest of the exhaust. So this header goes from 2-inch tubing right here, 2 to 1 into 2.5, and into a silencer right here where the calorie converter would be. And then we're gonna go from here on out, 3-inch piping. Okay, so I'm gonna show you guys how I utilize the exhaust that came with this car, its original engine. I think my friend / customer, he had bought some sort of exhaust system for his KA, single cam KA, and I was able to use most of it, and I chopped and re-angled it to the point where I could tuck everything up. So I'm going to show you that right now. You guys already seen this downpipe. So this silencer used to be the tip of his old exhaust. So I actually cut that off and decided to use it as a silencer. Since this car is NA, we wanted to keep the tone down. So, and you can see it, I sectioned a couple pieces, and I was able to tuck it way up above the frame rail and all the way to the diff. And I'm waiting on a 3-inch V-van set, which hasn't showed up yet, so this will be the break point. And then we'll put a final muffler right here. And yeah, so it's looking good. I'll show you this view. Remember what I said about accessibility when you do a clutch job? So yeah, I made sure everything, like for example too, the drive shaft, you're gonna want to be able to take that out, to do a clutch job. And I made this exhaust just hub to the left so you can do that. And as you can see, it stays pretty straight, minimum bends. So cool. So the point of this build was to make a subtle drift car, one that you can street drive and go to the track and have some fun. So we decided to go with the single exit tip, and that looks clean and subtle. Not gonna attract too much attention from the cops.
The next day.
Hey guys, this is Martin again. Today I'm going to show you guys the process of making a custom fan shroud. As you guys can see, we got the beams engine all set in and finishing off some few fabrication stuff. But if you look closely, even though we have a lot of room here, we do have some things in the way, so the shroud have to be very particular in order to fit these giant fans. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. So first, obviously you're going to want to set your radiator and look and see what kind of room you got to work with. So you pretty much have all the room in the world here, but since we're keeping the factory AC condenser there, we're gonna have to offset the fans a little bit to this way. So as you guys saw, there's a condenser on this side, and I kind of put a piece of tape and letting me know where that condenser ended. So basically, the fan shroud would have to clear that, and the fan obviously would have to clear that, so it cannot be over this side of the line, which pushes everything. But we're right on the edge here, so we should be good to go. I'll make the fan shroud come all the way to the edge right here and seal at the end, so it should work out. I've got my measurements, and this is how it all starts. I've got the outline all cut out. I'm going to be using the brake to bend these, and I'm going to show you guys that in a second. Okay, since I got my main shroud box bent and ready to go, I'm gonna check and make sure everything looks good. It's good. I use a little handheld skill saw. Be sure to use a metal cutting blade, and you can just easily cut whatever size hole you need to cut out, like this. And that's half of my shroud. Okay, I got my radiator fan shroud set up, all finished. These are just drilled and bolted on. The reason why I wanted to show you guys, this is just a radiator installation, but you know, when you do a build like this, it's really important to make sure, you know, your engine stays cool and functions with AC and everything. Having good cooling system is the key. And those of you who, you know, grip drive or drifting, you know, also probably know this. I use these Spall fans. I've been using these for years. I love them. I have it on all my drift cars, and they work really good. They don't lie about the CFMs. If you guys want the part number, this is basically it. They have different sizes for different applications. Here you have it. As you guys can see, it's slightly offsetted for that condenser to clear. So I'm gonna install it right now. Here you go. The radiator is installed with the shroud that I just made, and you can see that we have a little wiggle room for that AC condenser. So that's good. Everything seems to be fitting and clearing. So originally, the KA engine that came with this car had a fan shroud right on the main pulley there. Since Beam's engine doesn't have that, I had no choice but to make these electronic fans work in here. But that's no big deal. You just have to make a custom shroud like that. And I utilize 240SX radiator. So in case later if he gets into an accident or a radiator gets plugged up or whatever the reason might be, it's really easy to just drop in. All the mounting points are still there. There's no modification needed to the radiator when you plan it out like this. Hey guys, this is Martin. I'm just kind of getting to the last bit of it. As you guys can see, I did some fiberglass repairing. Basically right now is the best time to fix all the little problems that it had. Make sure you tuck the wire all the way up and everything is out of the way. It's kind of hard to see, but I put a plate right here with RTV so that you have a perfect seal around this area. As you guys know, 240SX has these main power wire, chassis wire run through this area, and your front wheel loves to eat that away. So you guys make sure to take care of this area really well. It's a bit dark, it's hard to see. Oh, here you go. Today I'm going to show you guys one of the things that you may run into when you do an engine swap like this is the radiator hose. I'm going to show you guys how I deal with that problem. As you guys probably know, the 240 radiator has an outlet size of 1 3/8 inches, and the Beam's engine that we just put into has an outlet side of 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. So right here, you guys can see this is the cross brace, this is the sway bar, and this is the AC line. I kind of got everything kind of lined up in a parallel manner, which looks good. So I decided that I'm going to do the same thing with the radiator. So you guys can see this 90-degree elbow. The company called HPS, they sell all kinds of different silicone tubing like this. This is a 90-degree that converts from 1 3/8 inches outlet to 1.25 inch, which is what we want for a Beams engine. So that piece is very helpful. I could have made fabricated up to a pipe like that, but that just kind of cuts a lot of my work in half. And you can kind of see what I got going on. Same thing over there. That's straight out of the Beams engine block. This is just a 90-degree elbow that I bought from the same company. And see, I'm starting to kind of come down here and meet this tubing so I can accomplish this look. I think everything's gonna look nice when things are in line and parallel. So that's what I'm trying to do. Hey guys, I finished the water system yesterday, so I'm gonna show you what I did.
Fuck, did a good job.
So as I told you guys, I tried to run the water line parallel to the cross brace and sway bar, and that came out looking good. I added a little bracket here for this because it was flopping around. I think things like this is pretty important for making the car reliable. If you look at the OEM cars, you always see extra brackets, and then you always wonder why they're there. But you know, they do extensive testing for longevity and vibration and stuff like that. So I always trying to, you know, learn stuff from what OEM did. And so, yeah. Another thing that I kind of utilize the OEM system is, I don't know if you guys can see, there's two sensor bungs right here. One is for the spall fan that we just got on here to actuate the spall fan. This is the thermostat switch. And this is the factory fan switch for the AC condenser / radiator. If you guys know 240, you can see it right here. There used to be a push fan right over here. So what I did is I utilized that sensor, which is very much tied into the OEM wiring and the AC condenser. Basically, I'm just going to be running this sensor to actuate this side of the fan, since we were able to run 2 electric spall fans.
So that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to try and get some footage of this car running. It is running right now, but I have not filmed any of that, so hopefully I'll try and film that pretty soon and get that out for you guys to see. I'll see you guys next time.